That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about Riff Raff, the eighth film directed by Dito Montiel, which just premiered at the 2024 Toronto International Film Festival.
Yep, I got to see the premiere, and I accidentally walked onto like the red carpet area, like almost bumping into Jennifer Coolidge, and people were yelling at me like, "Move, go!" But yes, the director. Are you familiar with them?
Yeah, he's not a director I usually care for. So I was curious that you chose to see this. I'm assuming it was for the cast, but
That's
uh,
right.
his debut was A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints, which had a really stacked cast. I remember Diane Wiest being there, which I think is based partially on his autobiography or on his own life. And Channing Tatum's in that, who he worked again with in The Son of No One. I really disliked Shia LaBeouf film he did called Man Down. You have seen a previous film of his because I did remember watching Empire State with you, which starred Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Liam Hemsworth.
So this is my first time covering a film festival. This is actually the first film I saw at TIFF, although it's one of the last videos we're recording. But um, I I didn't realize how ticketing worked, and it was hard to get into the films I wanted to see. So, TBH, this was the first day film I saw, and it was kind of like the one that was available where I recognized the person on the poster, and the person was Jennifer Coolidge, who I like. And for anyone who likes Jennifer Coolidge, she is giving you exactly what you want. She's playing a boozy divorcee with a foul mouth, and she's perfect in it. But the story, which has a lot of spoilers, so if you don't want to hear them, turn this off. But the basic premise: a former criminal's ordinary life, which is turned upside down when his old family shows up for a long-awaited reunion. My pull quote: Riff Raff amounts to a highly entertaining series of events that at times feels like it is trying too hard. So the former criminal is Ed Harris. He has this perfect life with his wife, Gabrielle Union, and their 18-year-old son, DJ. And they are currently at their vacation home in the um, like in the country, like in the woods, when one night Lewis Pullman shows up out of the blue. And it's clear that this is unusual. And we realize that Lewis Pullman is Ed Harris's son from his previous marriage to Jennifer Coolidge. So why is he there? Ed Harris used to be an assassin for the mob, but then like 20 years ago decided that he wanted to live a different kind of life and got out peacefully, started a construction business, and now has this beautiful, quiet life with his new wife. But when he was an assassin, his partner was Bill Murray. And Bill Murray is still in the business. Bill Murray has a son named Johnny. Okay, Lewis Pullman shows up to his dad's house with his new, very pregnant girlfriend, Marina. Well, Marina used to date Johnny, Bill Murray's son. So Lewis Pullman explains that, I had to be respectful and get Johnny's permission to date her. I did. But then 8 months later, when Johnny saw us and saw that she was very pregnant, he was triggered. Why? Because we find out Johnny is like sterile. He's shooting blanks. So clearly he's jealous. So he causes a scene at a restaurant that results in Lewis Pullman killing Johnny very graphically. So, of course, Johnny's dad, Bill Murray, an assassin for the mob, is looking for him. And that's why Lewis Pullman ends up at his dad's house. He has also brought his mother with him, Jennifer Coolidge, who he had to drug because she wouldn't have gone otherwise. But he had to bring her because he knew that the mob would try to get her too. But everything culminates in Bill Murray showing up to Ed Harris's vacation home with his new partner, Pete Davidson. And they hold the family at gunpoint. And then we end with like a sort of calamitous shootout where basically Bill Murray and Pete Davidson end up dying. And the family, some are injured, but they're all still alive. And then we flash forward a little bit. and see that they're all recuperating, and Marina, Lewis Pullman's girlfriend, has had the baby. So the final shot is Ed Harris holding his grandson.
How fitting for
Yeah, I was very amused. I laughed a lot. The film feels like a series of like, it has a really weird vibe to it because to me it felt like someone wrote like a dozen scenes that are well written and entertaining and with good humor, and then kind of pieced them together. But while I think the writer is like a talented comedic writer, there are moments when it feels like it's trying very hard, specifically with Pete Davidson's character. I think Gabrielle Union, I don't know that I've seen her in a film that I thought we needed her in this movie. Like, I don't know.
I
I mean, can you think of one? I mean, besides Bring It On, which I
bring it on.
think
Yeah.
is a great movie, but
Yeah, I think like the when because we reviewed her in the inspection where she's the mother that they try to, it's just like it's just hard with some beautiful women, not unlike Halle Berry, where it's just like, okay, we're trying to make this beautiful person look dowdy, and it's like, it doesn't really work. But she's fun to see. What was that Netflix movie she did that was really kind of odd and interesting?
oh, well, interesting is being generous, but yeah, what was that movie? We
It was,
reviewed it.
it was
Oh,
called Picture. My God, I can't believe I don't
where
remember
she's
it.
dating a younger man.
The Perfect Find.
Gabrielle Union is stunning. She looks like, I mean, at minimum 10 years younger than her actual age. So, of course, seeing her next to Ed Harris is interesting. We don't know much about her at all. I mean, they live in this beautiful home. She looks, at one point, I think Jennifer Coolidge refers to her as Claire Huxtable, Felicia Rashad's character on The Cosby Show. Like this perfect woman. She drives her fancy X7 SUV, and like all we see her do is go shopping, really. Although they are on vacation. But I don't know that she lends a lot to the story, but probably my least favorite character is DJ, their son.
Hmm.
Um, the actor is Miles J. Harvey. I feel like I recognize this person. So his character is supposed to be like this super awkward. I mean, he reads like asexual to me. Maybe on the spectrum, super smart, super smart, and is actually going off to college. The opening scene with DJ and his dad, also the way Ed Harris is interacting with DJ, I mean, they have the kind of chemistry that you might have with the special needs kid who bags your groceries at Whole Foods. But so then when Ed Harris says like, I've raised you for 18 years, I was shocked. Like I was not getting that kind of vibe. But I think the combination of Gabrielle Union and the DJ character are probably my least favorite aspects of the story. But
You saw him in that movie, The Babysitter, with that she belongs to a satanic cult. I think there's a sequel as well. Um,
what? I don't
Samara,
remember that.
we watched it for sure.
Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
he's so quirky. I mean, we see him, Lewis Pullman is, I guess, his half brother or step brother. And yeah, no, he's his stepbrother because they don't share mom or a dad. But at one point, because Lewis is trying to distract DJ from asking too many questions, and he's like, "Oh, you look like you've been working out," which is supposed to be a joke because DJ is overweight. But because DJ is so earnest and awkward, he's like, "Well, I have been working out every day." And then we cut to him like jogging, which looks so awkward. And then he's listening to folk music while he's running.
He was also in this terrible, I think Adam Sandler stars in it, and it's directed by the guy that did Spotlight, Tom McCarthy, called The Cobbler, and his character name is Big Boned Kid.
Oh, big bone kid.
But yeah, that and it sounds like Ed Harris is used very similarly to another character he played earlier this year in Love Lies Bleeding.
He's way more fun in Love Lies Bleeding. He's very sedate in this movie. He's just there. He does what he needs to do, but really it's more about Lewis Pullman and Jennifer Coolidge being ridiculous and Bill Murray and Pete Davidson bringing the comedy. But yeah, it's Ed Harris and Gabrielle Union are just there.
It sounds kind of like a scattered ensemble then.
Yeah. The So I didn't know anything about this movie. I assumed based on the cast it would be a comedy, and I was laughing up until we meet Bill Murray and Pete Davidson, and they show up. It's not clear initially what they're doing because we see separately from what's happening at Ed Harris's home that Bill Murray and Pete Davidson are driving around, and they stop at like a gas station convenience store, and they walk in, and it would seem that maybe they're going to rob the place, but then Pete Davidson says Bill Murray's name. And he goes, well, you said my name, so now we can't like rob the joint. And then also there are cameras everywhere. And the cashier is, like this yokel. So he's not really picking up what they're putting down. And Bill Murray goes, well, what about those cameras? And the guy goes, oh, those cameras have never worked. And Bill Murray shoots this man point blank under the chin, and we see his brain splatter against the wall. So that took my breath away. So we get a few moments like that, including when Lewis Pullman kills Johnny. We see him basically smash his head in with, I think, like a broom or something, like a broomstick. It's very graphic. Jennifer Coolidge is foul-mouthed. And it starts off with her. We get a flashback to the first time she met DJ because she hasn't seen him in like 10 years. So he was like a smaller kid and he was doing like theater in the park and he was playing Peter Pan. So he's wearing like a dress and a blonde wig. And the way Jennifer Coolidge is talking to him, it's very rated R. And I enjoyed that.
Jennifer Coolidge is interesting because she's highly enjoyable, yet also always the same, rarely a lead. She reminds me of kind of mainstay character actors from the 30s and 40s. Like almost every time I think of her, I think of also someone like Marjorie Main, who had this was very comedic Southern drawl, which I'm not saying Coolidge is like that, but is utilized so effectively time and time again.
Well, it's so smart on her part that, it's like when you hire Jennifer Coolidge, you know exactly what you're going to get. And if that's what you want, it's perfect. So yeah, I mean, with the fully styled, like voluminous blonde hair, and her breasts are like pushed up to her chin, and she looks uncomfortable all the time. And but there's a very what I thought a very poignant scene because it's obvious that Jennifer Coolidge is lamenting the fact that her marriage to Ed Harris ended because when she was married to him, and we get this bits and pieces of their history throughout the film, but really all is revealed at the end when Bill Murray is holding them at gunpoint and saying, "You're all going to die, so now's your chance to say your final whatever." And Jennifer Coolidge explains to everyone what it was like being married to Ed Harris when he was an assassin, that he was a horribly abusive man, but then he got right. And now he has this beautiful life with this beautiful wife. And so it's clear that she wishes that she could have had that, which I found very touching. And then there's a scene in particular where Jennifer Coolidge is in a bathroom in the vacation house, and she's rummaging through Gabrielle Union's toiletries. And of course, Gabrielle Union has all these fancy skincare and makeup things. And we see Jennifer Coolidge stealing some of them. And, she has her YSL, like eyeshadow palette, and she has fancy brushes, one of which Jennifer Coolidge steals. But I thought that was even though her character is doing the thing that you expect her to do, like Jennifer Coolidge, I did think there was a lot of poignancy and sort of this crazy, ridiculous story of this woman who, wishes she could have had this new life, but instead is attached to this previous life that still haunts her to this day. Like her ex-husband hasn't been a part of the mob in decades, and here she is about to be shot and killed execution style. because of the mob and something her son did.
Mhm.
So I think I actually felt the most sad for her.
That's
Um,
interesting.
Another interesting moment is Lewis Pullman is talking to DJ, trying to explain how he, because DJ's trying to ask him about girls, I think, and how did you meet Marina and when did you know? And he tells a story about how they bonded over an injured turtle, which I know is a plot point in another movie we watched.
Shithouse, directed by
Yes.
Tiff. Yeah.
But he tells a story of how he met her initially. And he asks DJ, are you an ass man or a tit man? And DJ's like, I don't know. I don't think I'm either. And then Lewis says, oh, you're probably an ass man, which I thought was saying like, you're probably gay. I mean, if you don't know if you like titties, you're probably gay. But he basically tells a story that we see reenacted, which I thought was another highlight, where Lewis Pullman like hooks up with some random girl at the bar, and she turns out to be insane and ends up breaking her nose in his apartment. So he takes her to the emergency room. And he's carrying this beaten, bloodied woman who did this all to herself. He did not abuse her. And he walks into the ER and sees cops, and she starts screaming. So he drops her and they arrest him. So he ends up in the ER because he injured himself, handcuffed to a bed, and Marina is the nurse. And she takes a liking to him, and she knows how to break out of handcuffs using a bobby pin. So that's how they first met. And her being a nurse is important because at the end of the film, when everybody is shot up, she's able to mend them, including probably the biggest gag of the story, and one that I thought was a little weak, is that it seems like DJ doesn't know much about his father. And then combining that with the fact that Ed Harris has been married to Gabrielle for 18 years, Ed Harris is the one who tells DJ, well, now that you're a man, like you're going to college, you can have a beer. So they're drinking beer. And then he tells him, you know, your dad died on a night when he was cheating on your mom. Like he got into a car accident, leaving like a hotel, cheating on your mom. But don't ever tell your mom I told you this. So then the next day, there's a scene where like they kind of get funky with DJ. So he goes, well, that's why dad died while he was cheating on you. But then at the end, we find out that this is the gag, that that man didn't die in a car accident. Ed Harris had already met Gabrielle Union while she was still married to the old man, and he took a liking to her and followed the guy, the husband, and saw that he was having an affair. So he decided to confront him, and in the confrontation, accidentally killed the dad.
Accidentally.
Well,
Um,
because he like punches him and then he falls and hits his head on the corner of the dresser, and it's that blow that killed him. So he had Bill Murray set it up like a car accident.
okay.
So Bill Murray spills the beans at the end when he's about to shoot Ed Harris. And then he sees that Gabrielle Union is so mad. So he walks up to her and says, why don't, oh no, he wants DJ to kill Ed Harris and DJ won't do it. But Gabrielle Union takes the gun and she goes that he was the one. Because previously, DJ had asked his mom, how did you know Ed Harris was the one?
Oh, okay.
So at the very end, when she's holding the gun at Ed Harris, now that she knows the truth about what he did to her ex, she says he was the one. Like, you killed the love of my life. So Gabrielle Union shoots Ed Harris in the neck. But it's like a superficial wound. So again, thankfully, Marina is a nurse and she gets them together. Jennifer Coolidge gets shot twice and doesn't die. But it's made to seem like maybe because she's a corpulent woman, it was like,
It sounds like there's some interesting messaging with the women in this film being attracted to dangerous men, which of course is, I guess, true to real life. But Gab Union's thinking that about the one, and also Marina unlocking the helping Lewis Pullman escape, even though he's suspected of domestic abuse in the hospital, seems risky to me.
Well, I agree. Although we have to remember that Marina was dating Johnny, who's like a mobster, like an assassin's son. So I'm assuming she was used to douchebag men. Also, Lewis Pullman comes across as like really like affable, like a
Yeah,
stark contrast to
but think about like uh, uh, women friends that you've had that date somebody that has like a reputation for manhandling women, and you're like, what do you do? You know, your immediate thought is to
yeah,
be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
is there
Yeah,
any way?
I definitely was a little lost with how Gabrielle Union reacted to the news that Ed Harris sort of like inadvertently killed her ex. But oh, and I also wanted to say that I like Bill Pullman. Um, and we just reviewed a film he's in.
The Serpent in the Rainbow, yeah.
Yeah, but I find him kind of bland.
He is that milk toast white uh archetype that some people seem to really respond to. But yeah, and I also just rewatched Spaceballs, which I'd say is a borderline terrible performance. But you know,
But his son, I find more interesting. And I thought he was the most interesting part of the movie Skincare.
yeah,
But what would I give?
yeah. What would you give?
Since you asked, 3.5 out of 5. I thought it was very good. I would definitely watch it again.
I was hoping that with the title there'd be some Rocky Horror Picture Show references, but I guess there weren't.
Or isn't there like an internet celebrity slash rapper named Riff Raff? He has like
That,
the mullet and the like rainbow teeth.
yeah, I think that is
Maybe
maybe.
because when I Googled Riff Raff to pull up my notes, the first thing that popped up was that man.
Oh, then that would be his name.
But anyway, that's all I have. Join us on Patreon and listen to our podcast. Bye.